Hello YouTube and fellow DC Comic fans, I'm Keith One Shot, and this is my dramatic reading series, and today we will be covering Batman issue 36, Super Friends, from DC Comics. We start this story off with Superman flying over a set of train tracks, as a train is cruising towards the danger. As he flies towards the train, Superman says to Lois through a comlink, if he wants to, he'll call. We then see Lois laying in her office, as she says to Clark on the phone, or darling, you could call him. Someone hands Lois a file, then says to her, the document numbers you asked for, Miss Lane, on the insurance filings for the railroad. We then see Superman flying, as he says to Lois, he's the one he's engaged. He should call. Clark, just because he should call, doesn't mean you shouldn't. Then, as Superman stops the speeding train from falling, he says to Lois, I'm busy. Oh, you're busy? What? I am busy. Right. And I'm sure he's sitting at home right now, twiddling his thumbs. We then go to Gotham City, where we see Batman, as he says to Catwoman through a comlink, I don't see why I need to call him. We then go to Catwoman, as she's kicking and punching a few men wearing hockey masks. She then says to Batman, I thought he was your closest friend. Then, as Batman leaps down off the roof, he says, I don't. Gordon is my closest friend. Then, as Catwoman takes out more of the masked men, she says, what? No, he doesn't even know your name. Fine, Alfred's my closest friend. Alfred's on your payroll. That doesn't count. Am I supposed to not pay him? Do you know how many cucumber sandwiches he makes every week? Bat, my love, just call him. Then, as Batman pounces down onto a few masked men, he says, I'm busy. Catwoman then cracks the guard in the face, as she says, yes, you're busy. I'm aware. We then go to a parking garage with Lois and Clark, as Lois says, I'd like to meet her. Then Clark says, what? No, absolutely not, Lois. She's a criminal. I'm not gonna let a criminal know our secret. Batman is your friend and colleague. Well, yes, but... And you trust him daily, to save the world. Well, yes, but... But you don't trust him to love someone we can trust? Well, besides Smallville, I looked into her. She's very good at finding out what people are trying to hide. Considering how you chose to hide your secret, I think she might already know. How I chose to? What is that supposed to mean? Then, as Lois walks away, she says, oh, sweetie. We then go back to Gotham City, where we see Batman and Catwoman, standing on top of a huge crane. As Selina says, guy who always writes about Superman, who looks just like Superman, but with glasses and slicked back hair. I'm a thief. I find the hidden things. Remember? I found you. So all I'm saying is, if this is what's holding you back, debating whether or not to tell me about the clever reporters, darling, I already know. We then go back to Lois and Clark, where Clark takes off his glasses and uses his X-ray vision. Then he tells Lois, he's here, tall guy, close-cut hair, listening to jam bands. Then Lois says, that's Kasicki, Ernie's deputy down at RICC. If he's coming to us, behind Ernie's back, this is something. Then Clark says, something's wrong, and there's a huge boulder coming towards us. Looks like someone threw it. I can't quite see who. Then Lois tells Clark, I'll meet Kasicki. Get him shelter. Get him talking. You do your thing. Clark then opens up his shirt, revealing his Superman suit. Then he says, yeah. Then Lois says, and after you do your thing, Clark, call him. Then Clark says, yeah. We then go back to Gotham, where Catwoman says to Batman, well, he looks just about done to me. Then Batman says, just about. So, this works. When they're afraid, they talk to me. That's funny. Why is that funny? Because right now, you're afraid. And because you're afraid, you won't talk to him. Later, we see Superman battling in the desert as he crashes into the ground. We hear Lois say to him through the comlink, so, is he happy? When do we get to meet her? Then, as Superman punches back his foe, he says to Lois, I didn't call him. Clark, I know. This is the thing, isn't it? I'll call him, I swear. Then, as Superman continues to battle, we hear Lois tell him, look, right now, I've got to do some research to follow up on the Kasicki lead. See what this 20 Corp is. Why all the railroad insurance speculation is going so well now. But tonight, after John's gone down, we're putting some time aside. We're talking about this. Tonight. No excuses. I don't care how many worlds are crisising. He's your friend. We need to fix this. We then go to the Batcave, where Bruce is on his computer, with Selina at his side. She says to him, "You're ashamed of me." Then Bruce turns to her and says, "No." Then what is it? According to our hanging man, the plutonium was to be delivered to Dr. 10. No Dr. 10's in the database, but there is Dr. Each's, released from Arkham a month back. Then Selina sits in Bruce's lap and says to him, "Talk to me." X being the, I know, Roman numeral 4. I don't understand. 10. Selina gets closer to Bruce as she tells him, "But Bat, you need to know. Whatever it is, of all people, I will understand." Later, we see Batman and Catwoman on a rooftop at night, as Batman says, "According to a map of radiation in the atmosphere, it seems Dr. Axis has a new lab in Goodwin Tower. How he's paying for all this plutonium is still a mystery." We then go to Superman and Lois Lane, on top of the Daily Planet, as Lois tells Clark, "He says he has to meet tonight. This Dr. Axe says he'll go on record about how he did so well on insurance speculation if I come alone." Then, we go back to Batman and Catwoman, as Batman says, "You don't have to come. You're not my sidekick." Then Selina says, "No, I'm your partner." Then, back at the Daily Planet, Superman tells Lois, "I'll stay outside the door, and I'll..." Then Lois says, "You don't have to be there." "Lois, that radiation, whatever that attacked me, he's connected to this. Let me protect you." Then, back with Batman and Catwoman, as the two leap off of the rooftop. Batman says, "I don't need a partner." Then Catwoman says, "I know." Then, back with Lois and Clark, Lois tells Superman, "I don't need protection." And Clark says, "I know." As Superman flies Lois down to the ground, he tells her, his parents died when he was so young, shot, killed right in front of him. He was raised alone, a kid in a huge mansion, with his memories of his mother and father. He had love, and they took it from him. He should be a killer. He should want to tear the world apart for what it did. And yet, he took that pain, that shock of death, and he turned it into hope. We then go back to Batman and Catwoman, as the two are free falling off the top of a building. Batman says, his whole planet was destroyed. He's the last of a Holocaust. He grew up in the dirt, finding out slowly how different he was. A stranger, discovering every day how strange he was. He has the power to tear the world apart, and he could, with a pinky. It's not his world. We're not his people. We should be ants to him. Imagine that. Always being on the outside. The pain that would come from always being on the outside. And yet, he took that pain, and he became the symbol for hope." Then, as Batman and Catwoman break into a building from the roof, Batman says, "I'm just a rich kid from the city. I knew my parents. I knew who I was, what I had to be. I didn't have any choice but to be who I am. He had every choice, and he became who he is. Every kid is inspired by him. He's a better man than I am." We then go back to Lois and Clark, as the two enter the building and go into the elevator. Superman tells Lois, "I had the love of parents. I had Ma and Pa the whole way. I had a childhood full of laughing and learning. I have powers. I had to do this. All he has is his wits and his will. He chooses to do this, and everyone wants to be him. He's just a better man than I am." Then, as Lois and Clark are in the elevator going up, Superman tells Lois, "He got engaged. He didn't call me, okay? That's his way of telling me we're not friends. Not really." We then go to Batman and Catwoman, as the two are climbing down an elevator shaft. Batman starts to pry an elevator door open, as he says, "You can't be friends with him. Not when you're... He doesn't need to congratulate. Look at me. Who am I compared to him?" Then, back with Lois and Clark on the elevator, Clark says, "He is who he is. He doesn't need a friend. He isn't like me." Then, we see Batman open his way into an elevator, as he tells Catwoman, "He's Superman." Then, as Lois and Clark's elevator opens, Clark says to Lois, "He's Batman." At the top of the building, as two elevators open up next to each other at the same time, we see that Lois and Clark are in one, and Batman and Catwoman are in the other. Then, as they all walk out, Superman says, "How? How didn't I see you?" Then Batman says, "You took the elevator? You're not supposed to see me." Then Superman says, "If I flew here, to get in this floor, I'd have to break a window." Then Lois reaches out and shakes Selina's hand. Then she says, "Oh hi, I'm Lois. You must be Catwoman." Then, as the four enter the room, the villains they came here to confront stand before Superman and Batman as they shout, "Today, everyone dies at the hands of Dr. Double X, Superman and Batman then look at each other as Superman says, "Vengeance is the night." Then Batman says, "Up, up, and away." Then Superman and Batman each crack the villains in the face, knocking them both out. Then Superman says to everyone, "So, you all want to get a bite to eat?" And that ends today's story. Comic published by DC Comics. All rights, story art, and characters belong to DC Comics and their respective owners. Not me. This has been Batman 36, Super Friends, and I'm your host, Keith One Shot. If you like this video, make sure to check out the rest of my comic complete dramatic reading series and support DC Comics by picking up a copy of the trades and single issue comics. Support your local comic book shop. Take care and have a great day. Goodbye.